Hey, Jamie, Andy, what's going on?
Hey Scott, thanks buddy. Jamie, how are you?
I'm well, Andy, and you?
Not bad, not bad. I see a lot of regulars out there today, and I see a few new people. That's always great to see. Hello everyone, thanks for taking time out of your day. I'm Andy, I'm joined with Jamie here. It is the Trading Studio, and let's dive in. First, let's go over the disclaimer. As always, this is for educational purposes only. Anything that you see in here today should not be construed as investment advice. Okay, we're going to be looking at some stocks today, possibly talking about maybe some concepts, some trading. But once again, guys, it's only for educational purposes only. If you're seeking advice as far as investment goes, you might want to find somebody who is licensed, like a registered broker, stockbroker, RIA, somebody that can help you in that capacity. All right, let's talk a little bit more about our 5-star support, education, and training that we have here at Trade Ideas. All right, we got webinars just like this one throughout the week, Monday through Thursday, the same time slot. That's 5 Eastern. It's going to be myself, Jamie, and Steve handling those duties, paired up in twos. On Wednesday, it's a great place to come for Q&A and to see little gimmicks coming around the corner and new versions. They always kind of taunt that in there. So be sure to come into that Wednesday where our CEO, Dan Merkin, and Brad Williams, our CTO, takes over the controls that day. And then we got the traders room. Okay, this is a live trading room where you actually get to watch over the shoulder of professional traders and also chat with many other professional traders. Great hangout. It's free for everybody. Okay, yeah, if you haven't gotten in there, check it out. It's a great hangout for any level of traders. And then Fridays, we have our Friday support session. And once again, we've been pounding the table on this because it is a great place to come for any questions that you might have. That's every Friday at 11 Eastern it starts. This one is too long to be recorded, so you got to make this in the live session there every Friday. All right, and tomorrow, just to remind you, tomorrow at 11 a.m. we'll have another one. And we got TI University, guys. This is our basically our 4 classes that we start every Monday. We're starting with Beginners 101, and you can see we kind of stair step up to Advanced 401 that we finish on Thursday. This is at 12 Eastern every Monday through Thursday. If you cannot make it, we do have these recorded on our YouTube page. Okay, just go to playlist, okay, and find TI University, and all these will be recorded. But we hope you can make it to the live one because you know, you can ask questions in these things. We have about 30 minutes carved out at the end of each one for questions. All right, paper trading. I'm going to be talking about it today a little bit. I'm going to show you my paper trader from this morning where I had an auto strategy running. We'll take a look at how it worked and look at some of the neat features on the paper trader. You're going to have access to this. I'm telling you guys, I have been playing around, and so has Jamie, for a while now. It's almost ready. As a matter of fact, this weekend we're making a few more steps that's only going to get it closer to you. So hopefully in about 2 weeks, you guys will be playing around with this. You're not going to need any broker connection. Okay, you're going to be able to paper trade on the Trade Ideas platform. You're not going to need to fund an account, okay, because it is paper trading. Okay, just using our brokerage plus interface. Really cool interface. Looks like this. We'll be talking about it more as this session goes on, but this is coming soon. So guys, keep an eye out for that. You're going to want to play around with that. It's fun. All right, the agenda for today. And we're going to do the market recap. Okay, we're going to talk. This is a nice bounce, but where are we going? You know, what's in our way? What are the headwinds? Well, we got quite a few of them. We've seen this before, and once again, it could possibly be playing out again. It's been playing out a lot over the last several years. We'll talk about that. Holly recap. Jamie will take over and break down some of the Holly trades for us. And and then I'm going to show you that paper trading module that I just showed to you, and we're going to take a look at some of the strategies today. And I'm going to tell you what I did this morning after looking at the market. I think you guys can get a lot from that. And then this is going to be a big topic, guys. Free commissions. Okay, this is huge for traders. I really cannot even fathom how big it's going to be. I just think back, and I'm going to put some numbers for you together over the commissions I've spent over the years. And it's going to blow your mind. This is big. Okay, if you're it doesn't matter if you're swing trading, day trading. Of course, if you're a day trader, it's going to be bigger, but a lot more trades, I would think, than a swing trader. And then we're going to talk about some of the advantages that you're going to be able to do because of free missions, like scaling into position, scaling in, scaling out, because it's not going to matter how much you trade. And the big thing is you're not going to be having all this money on commissions. You can afford great tools like Trade Ideas, okay, the best real-time trading software in the industry. Then I'm going to open up the floor. I mean, actually, you can ask questions throughout the whole when I'm talking about free commissions in Canada too. Yeah, I would think so, as long as you're using a broker who's established those commissions. You know, if a USO IB, for example, let's say IB, Stephanie asked, is going to be available in Canada. I would think so. If you're using a broker who set the rules in the U.S., I'm sure the same rules are going to apply to Canada or anywhere else. So I think you're okay there, Stephanie. All right, so let me back out of this and let's pull up the SPYs and take a look to see what we are looking at here. Let me zoom in a little bit, and you know, we still have a mess. You know, it's one of those markets, guys, where you just kind of got to be swaying with the market. I used to have a concept called sway trading, where you could get in a trade. It wouldn't necessarily be a swing trade. It may be a long day trade. It just depends on what the market does. You know, you see, you're basically just kind of entering a position trading, if you will, and then it may last for a day, it may last for 2 or 3 days. You're just kind of swaying with the market, sway trading, I like to call it. But it's not a good, you know, it's a tough market for investing right now, I believe, because we really haven't gone anywhere in 2 years. If you look back to January of 2018. Why will it not let me go further back? Oh well, trust me, pull up January 2018. We're right about the same area. We really haven't gone anywhere in the last couple of years. A lot of movement in between, but not really basically at the same place. And that has been the frustration I've been talking about every time we go to a new all-time high. We just cannot, you know, push higher, it seems like. So that being said, I think, you know, let's take a look at what may happen here. Well, you know, it's kind of the same scenario we saw back over here when we broke through our major averages, except for the 200 down here, and we vacillated back and forth for a month, then popped back out of that range, only to fail at the top of this range again. Well, here we are again. I think, once again, this is a major pivot level right here. We have broken it. Now we're in this range again. Okay, I can draw this horizontal line down here, make it a little bit tighter just for the wicks, but you see what I'm talking about. We're right back in smack in the middle of this range. I mean, a nice bounce today. Jamie and I were talking earlier. I thought we may get that 200 today, especially with that opening we had, but no, buyers came in, stepped in, and bought the market back, at least for today. But now, once again, we have headwinds, very much like when we came over here, guys. We were trying to bounce, and we started running into these averages and being knocked down, okay? Not until we traded it back above this 10 period for a few days, we finally got something going, you know, about 3 days there, and then finally enough conviction to move out of this range. Well, same scenario. We're going to be coming back up, but once again, we're going to be running right smack into these downward sloping moving averages. We'll see what happens. I think really, guys, I'm not going to sit here and just spin and stick right in the middle of this mess. And here's your ranges. I mean, as long as it's into this range, I think you just basically got a short-term trade. You know, if there's any direction, Over here, that was really hard to do because there wasn't any direction. If we get back into this slop again, which we very well could, crazy October, be careful. So that being said, let's take a look real quick at the Qs. And pretty much the same picture. I'm not going to draw the lines. It's pretty much the same mess. Diamonds, same, almost identical to the SPYs. And I haven't looked at the IWM today. This should be interesting. See if it got a little bounce, and it did. But boy, this one has really been out of favor. It's still pretty close to the lows of this range. Going back here last month, it almost took it out this morning, but bounced. So nothing going on right there in the IWM, and really we're just kind of in no man's land in these spiders. And I think that you got to use these ranges again, and until we can break through. And boy, I hate to say it, but you can almost use this range and that top range right there, because I think it just could be a mess in between these two ranges. But anyway, Jamie, you have anything you might want to add to this, or?
Nope. I mean, we're on the same page. I mean, when you're in the slop, you're in the slop, and hell, at this point in time, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I would be surprised to see a nice little gap up tomorrow and then go test that upper extreme. But then I thought to myself, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised to see a gap down either. But
Yeah.
we got the bottoming tail. We'll see if it holds up. See if we get a little, a lesser one tomorrow,
Right.
perhaps. I mean, just anything's on the table at this point.
I think so. I agree, Jamie.
Anything
right.
goes.
Well, if yes, anything does go in this kind of a slop for sure. All right, Jamie. Well, I don't really have anything to add. I don't want to steal any of your thunder over there. I saw there was a couple of target hits for sure, so I'll let you talk about.
And Holly had kind of a rough start herself this morning. You remember I noticed early on, I was like, wow, 4 stop outs. If I sort by time over here, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 stop outs pretty early on, but hey, no big surprise, after seeing this, this 15-minute candle here about, 30 minutes into the open, whoosh. So 4 stop outs right off the bat. Not looking too good for Holly early on in the day, but of course we all got helped out by the market, which, hey, we'll take it. Holly ended up finishing positive. Not the best day, but not the worst day either. Looking at the totals over here, 232 up to the 250 area on 18 trades. So on the bright side, not too many trades, and it's no surprise to see a lesser amount of trades in the chop that we just looked at in all the charts there. A little bit of risk off spread today. I think we got 3 decent ones to take a look at here. So RL first up on the list. And the good news is, once the market put in its bounce here, which that was only not quite an hour into the open here, 1, 2, 3, 4, bottom had been put in. So once you see this candle, once we're up in here, then not saying that was the golden indicator today, but it sure made you feel a lot better about picking some long positions. Whereas, early on we were like, yeah, I don't know, that 200-day is beckoning, but it never got down there. But the RL happening way after, the bottom had been put in, and pretty tame trade here. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see a profit save somewhere in this area right here, because usually that's when she's notorious about, it's not working, I better go ahead and pair it. But nope, she stayed in this one and let the target get hit. Just a nice little trend up. I mean, relatively pain-free trade once we got out of this little chop area right here. And getting a little flirty, but not coming anywhere near the stop area. What can we take away from this? If we were watching this in real time and as it cruised on up, that 10 period, once we see that wick down there and it survives, that gives us additional confidence. So, 62 cents. But man, I mean, that all came in the last 30 minutes there, right? So, hey, maybe once you saw it doing this, maybe you did ignore Holly's exit signal or peel half off, but not too bad there. 62% more, right? $1.62 versus $1. Not really a whole lot in this T-Doc, but it was a nice trade because it was a, it was a nice target hit as well. And you can see once that target area was breached, that's where it just kind of flatlined on into the close there. So there's, what, a dime in there, nothing really to write home about. Now this one is at least a 2Xer, whereas we weren't even at a 2Xer here between $1 and $1.62, but definitely on the RVLV Revolve group. Not a bad entry here either. Just got a little shifty up in here, 36 cents. That's where she closed it out in this candle right here. What are we looking at? As soon as we got above there after the entry, that 10 period was doing its job as well. So more of the same here. Break even stop would have kept you in this one as well. So if you peeled out a Holly with half, or peeled out a half with Holly, I should say, and use that break even stop, could have doubled up there. This one even more of a percentage difference because this is classic Holly. When we were looking at this one earlier, surprising because we got the same little consolidation period on the RL as we do right here in this MEET, which was one of the low cap or low dollar stocks that really turned in a pretty good percentage here, looking at 10% going into the close.
Well, it sure did.
Yeah. So, I tell you what, I'm finding more and more value in this. We talk about this from time to time about, maybe you're hitting some live trades with Holly, or you think it looks really good right when she brings it up. That's always fine. But watching the ones that she reduces risk or executes profit save on as well, because here's the signal, almost a stop out, then she gets bored with it and closes it out here. Well, we see that we can basically get the same price as Holly had gotten. And we see the action, and we're like, well, this wick right here makes me feel like it's a good trade, right? She's closing it out for a flat after she set the pain. I can reflect back on this wick, still way above the 10 period, and kind of have more confidence going into the trade right here when I see Holly reducing risk, right? So it's kind of like, okay, well, she tested it out, no stop was hit, we got the wick, got the 10 period, and the added bonus, other than statistical probability, the 10 period adhering, or the stock adhering to the 10 period, I mean, check out the volume that MEET finished with, and that was going into the close, rail volume of 11.89. So, whether you're going with Holly, whether you're watching the reduced risks, some good stuff to be had. We'll take a peek at one more here, because this is a triple of 11 cents versus 33. This one a little bit, not quite as pretty. We did have the breach of the 10 period down here, but still not even halfway down to the stop area. Once we see it ebb and flow around the entry line here, it's pretty much, the same type of logic as we were looking at in MEET. It just wasn't quite as pretty. But here we have the bottoming wick again, coming back up here to this 10 period, and then it was just off to the races. So even on a day like today, there's always some nice little nuggets floating around between risk off and risk on. Sometimes there aren't, but that's typically the anomaly and not the norm. So between watching the reduced risks and the profit saves, and then watching when she's exiting and placing your bet as to whether or not this thing's going to keep going, risk off, risk on spread, using reduced risk and profit save as entries. That's how we can leverage Holly, for things that aren't necessarily obvious on the surface. It just comes through repetition. All right, Andy, I think that's about all the highlights for Miss Holly today.
All right,
yeah, hung tough and did okay in these in this market environment.
Yeah, I tell you what, when you see one of those Mighty Mouse come out with volume, keep an eye on those and continue to keep in that. We've had a lot of good ones lately, and yeah, that was because if you're looking at the big picture here, even though Holly got stopped out for profit save, I mean, when you are like I said, Holly gives the ideas. You can manage the risk better, but boy, keep your eye on, because that was huge volume today, potential to kind of break out of this sloppy mess over here, and boy, it ended up being a good one. I throw that out just because I know there's been a lot of good Mighty Mouses over the last month, so that's encouraging.
Yeah, and they're still coming out, even though we saw what the IWM did. It was going crazy with those low dollar stocks during that run. And even with the IWM kind of giving it all back, still kicking out some pretty good movers. So
yeah, you can still find it. Yeah, there'll always be some nuggets out there somewhere, and Holly's really good about sniffing them out.
Indeed.
All right. Okay, so I'm trying to remember my agenda without going back to it. I think I was going to pull up the paper trader today, and so when I came in this morning, you'll see all these were all created, and think of created as kind of like a entry time. This is I'm trying to get them to change it to entry time, because if there's an execution, this actually changes. So I don't been trying to talk them in there for a long time, so we'll see if it'll happen. But this was all blank this morning, and so what I did this morning, and I haven't done this in a while just because of the market, but when I came in this morning, I'm thinking to myself, well, we've had a nice, pullback in the market for, couple of weeks now, with no real up move. If there's any strong stocks, that have pulled back but still holding above their 50-period moving average, I am going to turn on this, let's see, yeah, pullback above 50 SMA long swing. Okay, this is an alert that I like. It's very similar to that pullback above 50 SMA scan over here. Just kind of turned it into an alert. So what I did this morning is I didn't want to turn on the shorts because we've been selling off, for a while. Now, what I may do if we get a couple of up-day moves, I'll come in here and I'll come in one morning, I'll cut the short ones off. And I keep talking about this, guys, because I think, any strategy is only going to be good as when it is implemented. Okay, there's no strategy that works 24/7 in the market. And if somebody's trying to sell you one, run, because it just doesn't work that way. So this is what I've kind of been playing around with, when to implement these strategies, when to turn them on. And this morning I did, turn this one on. Now I had to cut it off at some point during the day because it would have just kept firing, So I think after about, well, we can probably look at the time here and see. These on the bottom, you can see these were all discretionary longs that I'm trading in actually a live account that I just kind of want to keep an eye on in my paper trading account. So I just buy a little bit here, and I'm reasonable. I'm not going crazy, because you can see I only have 60,000 in exposure. A lot of people fire these up and trade, 3,000 or 4,000 shares. I'd like to keep it kind of just, reasonable for the average trader, not go crazy.
So Andy, that brings up a good question. Are you doing like a certain dollar amount per trade?
Oh, very good question. Let's take a look at the strategy. I am doing, okay. This morning, I usually have this set at 8:45, but I told myself this morning, if there's a quick move in the market, I want to, of course, I got on the wrong side and I turned negative after that big old down move in the market. That was brutal. But I didn't get it, and nothing got stopped out. But I opened it up this morning at 8:30, and you can see here my position sizing. I'm using fixed dollars, $3,000. I love using fixed dollars versus fixed shares because fixed dollars are kind of more relative to the price of the stock it's going to buy you. In other words, if it's a $5 stock, it's going to buy you a lot more shares than it would a $100 stock. So I'm just using fixed dollars. You can see here stop loss is 3%. Okay, if it goes 3% against me, I'm out. And I'm using a tomorrow plus 3 days at the open for an exit. But obviously, being a trader, if things change, I will, obviously adjust any stops that need to be adjusted during live action. So let's take a look at some of the trades and what happened today. And like I said, first of all, let's look at the market. I mean, it looks like a really impressive day, but look at the final numbers, only up 0.82%. So it wasn't a big 2 or 3% up move. It looked as more impressive because we had that down, that down drive. Had we had opened up right here and just kind of creeped, it wouldn't have been impressive at all. So don't let this fool you. A lot of people say, "Oh, what a great day today." Well, it was only great because of that down swoon for many people if they caught the bottom. but that's hard to do. You're terrified. So anyway, some of these did not work. Some of them did. You can see right here. It has a. This is what's great about this paper trader. It gives you a profit factor, 5.62, winning percentage, 72.7%. Gives you your average winner and your average loser. Got a thunderstorm crawling overhead. My dog's barking. Hold on. Exposure. See, it tells you everything, guys, and it also has a nice little histogram. You can see this morning what happened. Okay, of course, I had a lot of positions, and we had that downswing, so I did get negative really quick, but nothing got anywhere near stopping out. So, and we can take a look at this strategy. By far, the best winner was this TAL. Look at this, Jamie, this morning. Look at that move. Now, I'm trying to understand why this took it so late, but it may have been just a crazy, wacky move. By the time I got the field, it was up there. But anyway, very nice move on that one right there.
Wide range bar for sure.
Yeah, that's a beauty. A lot of now. Notice what happens, guys, is when you're trading this, and once I start trading this with live money, I'm going to be more on top of it. Okay, I'm doing some other stuff right now, but and I guess I will be. But notice some of the things that didn't work. I noticed what it was. It was a lot of these. Well, it's a funeral home, which probably, but a lot of REITs. A lot of REITs fell today. In other words, a lot of head fakes. Here's another one. Although it's just tried to come back, but kind of a head fake there in another REIT. See if we got any more. Oh yeah, no, and gas. I wish there's a way we can eliminate certain sectors. Hopefully in the future we might be able to do that, because I probably would have cut this one pretty quick. Not a whole lot I like about that. Surprised this one didn't work. I was really kind of thought this one looked really good coming into the day. It's still holding up. Obviously it's a swing trade. It's only down slightly, but very strong looking chart there, and maybe a possible cup and handle on that one, so maybe one to keep an eye on. But anyway, you can see, guys, what I'm doing, and I wanted to point this out, not only just to show you the paper trader, how cool it is, how you can come in here. Let's take a look here. So this, if you're trading it, I can sit here and adjust my stop like this, move it around. On my longs today, these discretionary longs, I can just right click and could trade from the, I didn't do it in this case, I just traded from this bar down here, which you can do as well. But really cool interface. We are hoping, and we are intent, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, when we get this set up with other brokers, especially now that people are going to free commissions. It's going to, I think, be a no-brainer for a lot of Waleed. I haven't optimized it since I given you the last copy. That being said, we can take a look at the one. Now, it's probably, I'm looking at the spiders, in this action we've had, and let's pull up the one I'm using here. Log swing, it'd be this one right here. Actually, I got it in here. I'll make sure I got the right one. Pretty sure this is it. Yeah. All right, so all these later ones, they didn't fire because I cut it off, which, some pretty good ones still. That's a nice looking one, like that bouncing off the 50 right there. This one would have fired earlier, right when it took out that high, but I just didn't want to be trying to manage 50 trades. But anyway, let's go ahead and back test this. I have not done this in a while. Usually I'm on top of it, and you can see I have it set for 845. Now imagine it's not going to be very good after the last 2 weeks of trading we had. But if it's holding its own, that's a good sign. Because remember, now that like enough trades today would have closed. You know, it's holding its own. I mean, still, I mean, you look at the market and remember, I always get back to when you implement. Okay, notice this drawdown over the last probably couple of weeks. Okay, I have not implemented it. Okay, today was the first day I've implemented it in a long time, and this is where it's going to be. You know, you're going to get much better results than the back tester. You know, when you learn, you know, when to turn these babies on and turn them off. You know, just it's man and machine, and this is where I think you're going to have a huge advantage, especially with free commissions. My gosh, I mean, think about it. Where's my brokerage plus? I mean, how much would all this have cost me? Right now, it would have cost me nothing. I could run strategies like this and manage a little hedge fund and not even have any commissions. Which takes me to my next topic, and I'm going to show you guys if I would have had free commissions when I started trading 20 years ago, the difference would have been. Let me pull up a calculator here. All right, and if I'm fudging in any direction, okay, it's to the light side, okay. I mean, because a broker told me he used to trade a lot with Centerpoint for years. He said, Andy, man, you always average around 2 million shares a month. Man, it's just, I've never seen anything like it. It's no matter what you do, it's around 2 million shares a month. So, and then, like I said, if there's any fudging, it's to the downside. So 2 million shares a month. Okay, so let me just break it out into a day. So basically, that's 100,000 shares a day. You got on the average about 20 trading days during every month. Okay, so let's say I'm just to start from the beginning. Let's say I'm trading basically 100,000 shares a day, and that's probably what I average for 17 years of active day trading. And I'm going to use an average of 0.006 a share. And that would probably be, now later on it got cheaper than that because I could work out better deals. In other words, commissions got cheaper and cheaper. But when I first started trading, and Jamie can vouch for this, it was $25 in, no matter what size, $25 in, $25 out. And I did that for a long time and probably made more money doing that. That's the crazy thing, Jamie.
Oh yeah, I remember in the old days when we all first started off, we could only do a certain amount of trades per day, and like if you only made $100, you'd throw that trade away and be like, hey, I'm going to throw this one into the error account because I need to make more than $100 after commission, you know. Yep. But things changed, and you know, commissions have been doing nothing but coming down ever since.
Yep, exactly. But I can say probably on average, if I had to estimate, it would be, you know, around 0.006 and per share. Okay, so that's $100,000. I mean, sorry, 100,000 shares a day. Okay, so it's $600 a day times 20 days a month that the market was open for trading. Okay, it's $12,000 a month times 12, this is breaking it down to a year, $144,000 a year times, and I'm not that, guys, I'm telling you, I am not lying, 17 years, almost $2.5 million I spent in commissions. I know, it's sickening when I think about it, and but it's real, and to think you guys can have 0 commissions now. What it's going to enable you to do is it just blows my mind, actually. And I'm going to give you an example because now, I mean, used to you would never get in and out of a trade because you were afraid. In other words, I can't, you know, it's going against me, but you know, I know I'm wrong, but I don't want to, you know, have another commission and then turn around and get back in. Well, now it's not going to matter. Not that you should be doing that, okay? But sometimes things change, market thing, you know, things change, and it's real easy now to get back, you know, get out, get back in because it's going to be free. It's crazy. So I'm going to give you an example. Okay, and another good example of scaling in. Okay, let's take a look at a trade that I entered recently, and it's Facebook off the 200 day. Okay, So back in the, let's just pull this up. So when it was coming down yesterday, it fought down below this 200 day and then popped back up. Okay, so let's say you're a swing trader and you want to swing trade this. Okay, well, let's say you want to get, let's just say 100 shares. Okay, you want to buy 100 shares of Facebook. Well, with commissions, you're more likely to go in and buy that 100 shares right on the get-go. Okay, and you know, especially if you're paying, say, $5, you know, because you don't want to scale in. You don't want to do in thirds or even fourths, because that would be, you know, bang, bang, bang. Next thing it's 25 or 30 bucks to get in. Or let's say you're, you know, $100 for 100 shares could be a lot for a lot of traders. Let's just say 50 shares, whatever you're buying. But now, this is what I love. You can be able to scale in any amount that you want. So in other words, let's say you have an idea that Facebook's going to bounce somewhere around this, you know, 200. You've been watching it for a long time. It's had a really nice pullback, you know, and look where it bounced last time at this 200. You're thinking, wow, I want to get this, but man, this market right now is scary. This thing could drop down to 170, you know, real quickly. Well, what you can do is, you know, you buy a quarter of your trade. You know, you buy, I would always recommend scaling in when you're catching, you know, the stocks on a 3 or 4 month low. It just makes sense. So now, you know, you might buy, let's say you're trying to get 25. I hope this thunderstorm doesn't get me, Jamie. If you lose me, you'll know what happened.
Gotcha.
So let's say you come in, you buy 30 of your position. So you're trying to get 100 shares. You come in, you buy 33 shares. Okay. Now you're holding out for the next day. Okay. Now you got this thing. It takes out today's high. Okay. Boom. You buy another 30 of your position. Okay. So now you got 2/3 of your position. Maybe that's going to be enough. Maybe you can buy. You know, it depends on your hold time. You know, if you're a short-term swing trader like me, you look for 2 or 3 days. You know, I'd probably buy half and then buy another half. Okay, if you're looking for a longer term hold, you might just want to buy a third right now, wait for it to get above these moving averages, buy another third. You know, if you're looking at an investment, you know, you could really slow play this because commissions are free. And I just think that's going to be huge, because I encourage it, especially for you new traders. I mean, because if you're going to be making mistakes, you know, make them cheap, make them with one quarter of your position. Another one I nibbled on today, SunPower. Okay, just hideous. Okay, but look at this level over here. I mean, there's nothing great about this chart, but look, after that sell-off, you had a little spinning top yesterday, took out yesterday's high, nibbled on about half size. Okay, tomorrow, if I get the opening I want, boom, I could buy another half. So, you know, and then play it maybe up to this $12. So the point I'm making is, with commissions and even day trading, guys, I mean, probably more so with day trading. I mean, you can, you know, you could be sitting there just buying, you know, small little chunks at a time, you know, waiting for your move. And like
You
I
know,
said,
Andy,
especially for,
I'm sorry to interrupt here, but yeah,
oh,
because
please do.
you remove commissions from the equation, then it's like playing blackjack, but there's no maximum bet as long as you can extrapolate it out. Of course, not
Right.
saying that everything is going to come back, right? But on the reasonable plays where you can clearly identify some support and resistance, I mean, it's a big game changer. It really is.
It really is. I mean, it's like I said, I just showed you, man. It kind of makes me mad to think, man, you guys are about 20 years late. But no, well, it's going to be good for everybody now. It really is. And not only that, the big key is, gosh, anybody and everybody can afford trade ideas now. And gosh, I mean, even if you were paying big commissions, you needed trade ideas, because you need something, you know, to point you it's in the right direction. You know what to trade. Use these, you know, great tools, you know, for finding opportunity like that. Let me hit some of these questions up real quick and see. That's cool. Able to creep. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Jeff. Able to creep into a position with feelers. You're right, and it's going to be free. And I can promise you this. How many times in the past I would say to myself, it's like, well, gosh, I'm just going to buy a third here. I'm going, well, gosh, that's going to be a commission. Then I'm going to buy another third. It's another commission. Now you don't have to worry about that, man. It's just going to be free. It's crazy, but huge advantage. And don't think it's just for day traders, guys. I can promise you, if you're swing trading, me, I still probably do swing trades, probably 20 to 25 a month. That adds up. You slap, $5 dollar tag on each one of those in and outs. Gosh, yeah, that's that could easily add up to $300 or $400 a month. So it's big. It's big. And once again, let me just make sure I haven't missed anything here. Can't afford trade ideas. Yeah, I want any questions, guys. Any questions? I'm gonna open the floor up here for a few minutes. I can't. Once again, I don't think I can express, how huge this free commission is for you guys. I don't know if you've even thought about it, but yeah, you know what? We're going to be on IB is going to, they need to open that up on all platforms. So our brokerage plus,
yeah,
Jamie
because
and I are making a few trades on brokerage plus, and we don't like paying for it.
Right. I mean, because you're still using the API with Brokerage Plus, even if you're not auto trading, so to speak, but that's still an API driven order. But didn't Schwab and Ameritrade said everything is free, right?
Yes.
Whether it's API driven. So IB, who knows, they might hold fast to that statement, but they'll probably cave as well. It's kind of like a bidding war. It's kind of like a war. The race to zero, as Sean mentioned earlier in our meeting. So hopefully they flip, or they make that tier of order entry free as well. And as I responded to somebody in the questions panel, if they don't, well, then there might be a good reason to port the product to Schwab or Ameritrade. We'll just have to see how it plays out, and hopefully it won't take too long to find out.
No, you're right, Jamie, and you're right. I think it's just a matter of time, because you know what, people are going to just pick up their toys and go elsewhere. Let's see. You're asking about, who was that? Somebody asked about a gap scanner, Zolt. Step by. Gap scanner. It's what it is. It's a scanner. It's not an alert that's going to alert you on something where you would need to act quickly. And gappers are just basically, only thing I use them for is in the morning. So why isn't gappers? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's a gapper. Why am I tapping it? Okay, so let's just say gappers right here. Let me just pull this up real quick. So really in the morning, this is probably what it looked like. If I put time frame, live always, it's not going to matter. It should look the same, because if it's sorted by gap, it's going to freeze once the market open. But let me just go in here and change the time and put it on this morning at 8:15 my time, since I'm on Central AM. So here's a typical gap scanner, and you can see it didn't, well, I guess it did, because it may have sorted by something else here. But anyway, all you're really doing with a gap scanner, there it is you're just looking, you're basically looking at stocks that are gapping up, and you're just deciding, what I do is I find areas of interest, like this OBLN. I'm looking at this, and it's gapping into what I call no man's land. Look at this range right here it's been in, okay? So I'm looking for ones that may be breaking out of a range. So let's say this thing was gapping up, close to this range right here. Okay, opens up, maybe trades, and then poop, breaks out of a monthly high there with volume. That's the kind of stuff that what I'm looking for. Meat, look at this. The one Holly call was getting up today. Okay, that was in play. Okay, gapped up. I mean, Holly kind of caught it late, but look right here. I mean, you had a little area right here that it got above. Once it got above that area, you kind of had an idea the next stop, the area of resistance was right here, the top of this wick. So, and then once it got through there, you know, here's your next area. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, you know, stocks that may be kind of breaking out of ranges or something like that. Once again, this one, no man's land, just nowhere. Be quiet, Bobo. This one would have been tough for me just because you had a big move yesterday, small gap today. I'm not even seeing that as much of a gap. I'm not sure why. Oh, that's because it was in the morning. It was trading up there. So anyway, Zolt, that's what I do. I like to find areas of ranges where it's breaking out of. All right, let me get to some more questions here. Wouldn't active day traders who trade to have orders directed to exchanges rather than being sold to HFTs? Oh, Jamie got that. Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, there's traders out there that are going to say, you know what? I don't care about free commissions. I know a lot of good traders, and routes are so important to them. They have to get, you know, a good feel, and they'll stay and pay their commissions. Now they get pretty good commissions anyway because they trade huge volume. But for those traders, I know how important routes are to them. And not only that, borrows. There are a lot of short sellers out there that have to have good borrows, and they're going to stick with those brokers who can provide those, you know, great borrow list. So there's traders out there that's not going to move. Yes, they're going to be selling out order flow. Yeah, here's my concern. When I see a mass movement like this, I question whether it's orchestrated or not. You know, because I know how the big brokers work things to eventually fall in their lap in their favor, and I wouldn't be surprised if somehow this is being done so they can eventually control the spreads again. So in other words, you can trade free, but it's only on certain routes. Okay, so you're not going to have all these inside, you know, dark pool routes, and you know, so in other words, they can eventually get back to the good old days where they can control the spreads, you know. But you know what, you know, the spreads are not going to go crazy wide because there's enough I think competition out there with the routes and stuff that so I don't think it's going to, for the 99% of the traders, I don't think it's going to make a difference, or say 95%, but for the ones who really count on, you know, micro scalping and going for that quick move, you know, trading free might not be the best gig. So, but for the majority of us who are looking for longer, you know, day trades or swing trades, no, it's going to be wonderful, man. It really is.
And Andy, you know, we haven't even really talked about it. Well, what if you're taking liquidity, you're adding liquidity? Is it all the same now, or is all that whole model's going to go away? And really, nobody knows yet. Nobody knows anything yet. All they've said is free trading is going to be available. So we kind of have to wait for the specifics to emerge, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's? We'll end on this. That broker that I used to trade with, he came to me one day, and this was 4 years ago, and I could not believe it. He goes, Andy, I got you a free route. I go, what? He goes, yeah, you can trade for free, you know, trade for free. And I go, great. And I did for about 2 months. And it was on a route called ETFC. It was a E-Trade route. So what they do, they get so much order flow that they were willing to give me, I was an active trader, and they were willing to give me free trades because they knew they could take my order and, you know, monopolize it in-house some way. I would still get great fills. I wasn't getting bad fills, but if they could make, you know, 1 or 2 millicents, you know, they would take it. And you know, that lasted it lasted Jamie for me for like 2 months, and then we had another. He gave it to another guy too, and he somehow abused it and found out a way to, you know, so we got killed. But oh man, that was great. So I enjoyed free trading for 2 months, but So I can tell you this, you guys are going to love it because I did for that 2 months. All right, Jamie, if you don't have anything to add, I'm going to bring Scott in, and he can walk us out of here.
Yep, ready to go if you are.
All righty. All right, Scott.
All right, thanks, guys. So before we head out, just a reminder, we've got a summit with a great lineup coming your way in October, later in the month. If you can make it to San Diego, you should do so. Just go to trade-ideas.com/summit and use that code you see on your screen to get a discount for a ticket to visit us and do some networking. Location's fantastic, so are the speakers, so is the catering, and it's a great networking event. If you can't come in person, then just hit up the live stream link. Go to trade-ideas.com/livestream, put in your email address to get notified a little bit before the event how to watch it live and see the replay. We've got a series of ebooks that are new, and both Andy and Jamie contributed chapters to them. You can go to trade-ideas.com/setup, put in your email address to get the download links. They're organized by category, and each one has 2 chapters and some cloud links for you to import into your Trade Ideas setup. There's a podcast we release on Fridays, so stay tuned for the next one. You can get ready for that by searching for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts and adding us as a subscription. And then you can cruise through the back issues and check out some of the interviews we have. There's some interesting ones in there. There's a code that's good this month, Fall Into Savings, all caps like you see it on your screen, and will also be in your email reminder of how to watch the video tomorrow, video replay. So you can keep tuned for your email from GoToWebinar with your link to the replay and a reminder of the code. But you can use this to either upgrade from standard to premium or start any Trade Ideas subscription or get Brokerage Plus and save. So if you have any questions at all, email us, info@trade-ideas.com. You can follow Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. Steve Gomez is at Today Trader. There's also at Trade Ideas. Trade Ideas Pro is the Facebook handle. So you can follow us on Facebook and share our stuff with your friends. Like I mentioned, the recording of this is going to be up later on tonight or tomorrow. And have a good one. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Andy.